This is where we stayed the day before we moved to Sisseton. Now we're going to Sisseton for the big convention. Crummy.
Joy with everybody up, Soldier's Joy. We've had a good time, and you folks have been a wonderful audience. Stayed around through some of the rain, and let her go, boys. There you go.
I can get started now.
And we don't want anybody to be taken out. Later on, there will be a live cannon shoot right here on the field, and we do want people to stand back for this thing. We do not want anybody hurt during our demonstrations. From Fort Sisseton here, most of them are from Aberdeen, and they'll be taking the field first. Their group specifically comes from the era of 1862 through 1868. A lot of the infantry uniforms that you see on them would be period to the Civil War era. Many of these men that were stationed here at Fort Sisseton were galvanized Yankees. Galvanized Yankees was a group of people that they had a choice, being from the South. They could either join Uncle Sam coming out here across the plains and manning the posts out here on the Great High Plains, or they could stay in a confinement camp back in the eastern part of the United States in the north. A lot of the Johnny Rebs then decided that they'd rather come out here to the Great High Plains, and they became galvanized Yankees. You'll see a nice write-up about them here in the museum. The field right now would be able to see that there's a lot of difference between the old military and the new military. The way they carry their guns then, the way they carry their guns now. The guns that they're carrying, by the way, are a muzzle-loading Springfield rifle that would have been used during the Civil War period. They are a single-shot, muzzle-loading. A lot of the other accoutrements that you'll see, and there's a difference between their uniformage and the other infantry group that will soon take the field, is that they are wearing 4-button coats instead of 5-button coats. 5-button coats were during the 1870s period. You'll see a lot of them in field dress there with their mess kits and canteens along their side. You'll see that they're carrying their cups along tied to the bottom of their sack bags there. You'll notice that their kepi hats, differing from the ones of the later period, are a floppy type hat instead of the cut down kepi that you see later on in the 1870s version. The uniforms that these boys are wearing are authentic to the time period, though they are replicas in the plains. Oddly enough, during this time period, there wasn't a lot of skirmishing that you would imagine out here. Now they're getting ready for a skirmish line. They'll be loading their guns.
Baby.
Oh, going to get the water out of the barrels. With all this rain going on out here and everything, we've got to watch out with what's going on. In order to get one of these muzzle loaders to dry out, one of the first things you do is you put a cap on it. The caps are more powerful than what you get on a child's cap gun today, and you fire a cap off on this thing. It sends a little bit of fire down the tube, down the barrel, in order to dry out that barrel. Now they're going to be loading their cartridges, it looks like. They've got paper cartridges is what they're using, and you'll see them biting the end off the paper cartridge. Kind of messy, doesn't taste real good, and then they pour the powder down the barrel. Get rid of the paper. This was a 9-step procedure for loading the guns. If they did it during a drill like this, each one took a step. However, during a heated skirmish, they could shoot as much as 3 times in 1 minute. A lot of noise for little guns, huh?
Boom. Boom, the baby gets scared. Did you almost jump when he was doing it? Okay. He just about jumped out of his door. They got you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the First Dakota of Sisseton here. Much all from north of the border. The group that you just saw was from South Dakota here. Now we have the group coming on. The 5th Infantry comes from Miles City, Fort Keogh. The 6th Infantry comes from Williston, North Dakota, Fort Buford. The 17th Infantry comes from Bismarck, Fort Lincoln. And the 20th Infantry comes from Jamestown, Fort Seward. And then they'll be firing off into the air here. These guns that they'll be shooting are 4570 trapdoor Springfields, model 1873.
Remember? Right through the car?
Now what happened in 1873 when they first gave these guns to the infantry, or to the cavalry also, is that the cartridges of those days were made of copper instead of the brass like we have today. And when these guns were issued and they were first carried out to the Battle of the Little Bighorn, a lot of the men didn't really get a chance to fire their guns before going out. Also what happened on the way to the Battle of the Bighorn is a lot of these cartridges were carried in leather cartridge belts. The leather reacted with the copper, and so at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, a lot of men were found out on the field. These copper casings became weak as they were going on their way out. When they got out there to the Battle of the Bighorn, they started shooting these things, and the cartridges would expand inside the guns, thereby rendering the gun unable to shoot anymore. During the Indian Wars period during the 1870s, Congress thought that was too much money to be paying enlisted men, so they dropped it back down to $13 a month, and a lot of men deserted during that time period. Only to find out later on that they couldn't make it on their own, and they re-upped at another post, changing their names once again. Also mustering during the Civil War period, in this time period, a young man could had to make one or the other fit. Tough old sergeant, just drilling them hard. The rifles that they are carrying, like I said, are the 1873 version of the 4570, but these are the long versions, affectionately called Long Toms. The cavalry will be carrying the shorter version, the carbine model.
First one, fire! First one, fire! Together! Fire! Carry! Fire! Squad! Fire!
60s, there wasn't a lot of time spent in actual combat. Much unlike the Hollywood version. The Hollywood version is where all you see is conflict. A man in a 7-year stint was lucky to see one skirmish in 7 years of his enlistment out here on the Great High Plains. So, here on the coast, life was boring and life was dull, except for all these drills on and on throughout the day. This was the largest activity, on the coast during this time period was alcoholism. The Sutler store was visited and often was used during the Indian Wars period very often. A lot of times it was only used around on the garrison for guard duty and those kinds of things. There's only 3 documented cases of the bayonets being used on a human being during this period. The bayonets also, in all the pictures that you'll see of during the campaigns, the bayonets were not even carried during campaign duty as they went across the plains. They really were a worthless tool to be doing that kind of a thing. They just had no use. They weren't sharp. You couldn't cut anything. You might be able to use them to spit meat on. And I am told that there was once again, drilling all by the numbers. 1, do this, 2, do that, 3, do something else.
Are you cold?
Either one of you guys want to poncho?
Where did you go when you
Here's the Perry.
Where'd you go when it rained?
Right?
Where's Mikey?
Yeah.
Right here.
Up.
Where's that? Is it behind
Down.
you? Huh? It should be right behind you. Michael, did you get lunch?
Not yet.
This is a simulated tree. He's got natural cows.
These men study and study. Each different group studies the manual which they're accustomed to using, and they study and study these things to reenact the things that were done during that time period. As I said, the 1st Dakota, they study the Hardy's Manual of 1862, and this group here studies the manual of Upton's 1872.
Horses haven't come in yet. These guys are kind of nervous. Yes, because when they turned around, about 4 more turned around, and they turn around. Yeah. Some of them.
I know for a fact that this group from Williston here gets together every Thursday evening to practice their drilling. We do invite the infantry, the 1st Dakota, the 6th, the 5th, the 17th, and the 20th. The flagpole is blocking your view. You might want to kind of spread to either side to take a look at it. This is an 1862 bronze cannon. It is authentic to the Civil War period. This is not a replica. And the way they load this thing, first off, the cannoneer is running a worm down the barrel to make sure that there isn't any foreign material down that barrel. He runs it down through twice just to be on the safe side. Folks, step back. We do not want anybody getting any closer than what you already are on the field. Down there on the south side, the scouts will be clearing out a path for that to be shot through there. One year I was clearing a path down there. A lady from New York was standing right there. I said, "Ma'am, you can't go through here." She says, "Why not?" And I said, "Because that cannon is loaded." She says, "Oh, really? Can I look?" Folks, this is a live cannon. We pack it with about 2 pounds of powder is what the cannoneer starts with. Now, in the days of that time period, these guns were good for 1,000 yards during the Civil War period. They were used on the posts out here during the Indian Wars period, but only to kind of make noise and to be a scare. There wasn't a lot of battles that these were used during the Indian Wars period. All right, first he's put, like I said, 2 pounds of powder in there. Then he runs a paper plate down through there. After running the paper plate down there, he's got 1 head of cabbage that you see them hold right now, and they punch the first head of cabbage down there. Then after they get the first head down, then they send the second head down. And when we get done, we have sauerkraut coming out the end of the barrel. If you listen and I keep my mouth shut, you'll hear them pound that cabbage down the barrel, and it'll kind of sing. When they do set it off, it'll sing after it's been shot. There's a special way that you load these cannons. You watch yourself. Once again, it is by the numbers, and even holding the ramrod. There's a special way to hold the ramrod so that in case that thing did go off, you would not take off any larger appendage than what you're already doing. So you have to be very careful when loading one of these guns. I understand a boy from South Dakota was killed here a few years ago because he was misusing a cannon. After they get done shooting these cannons, they're very careful to swab the bore out with a wet sheepskin so that there's no sparks down left there. Now what the cannoneer is doing, he'll be grabbing a friction primer. We do not use fuse. We use a friction primer which was used during the latter half of the Civil War. It's much like a brass-covered match. You stick it down inside the barrel, you pull the friction primer, it lights it off like a match, and ignites the powder in the barrel. Now he punctures the bag of powder down through the vent hole. And he feeds in his friction primer. He connects to the friction primer. The friction primer has a little loop on it. He connects to that a lanyard. Stands off to the side holding the lanyard, and he sets the gun off.
But then the other side's happening the same. Yeah, see, so that's right. Yeah, you're not sure. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 12-pound Napoleon. Now you know why we don't want anybody standing down there on the end. They did, at one place, take the windows out of the church. Very much in the Hollywood films. The infantry were the first ones to man a post, get it ready, build it up, and do all the grunt work. And then they would accompany some of the campaigns and did a lot of important things, but you just don't hear about them in history. It's the cavalry that you hear an awful lot about. You see a lot of them in the Hollywood movies because of the fact they have a little bit more dash, maybe a little bit more color to them. But here they are, the cavalry. Like I said, they're all made up of different groups. Now, you'll notice, as different from the Hollywood version, they are wearing red scarves, not gold scarves. They wore red scarves during this period. Also, you'll notice that their hat bands are all gold, which means that they were from the cavalry. The sergeant stripes for the infantry were blue. You'll see the cavalry sergeant stripes, they are yellow. These men are all dressed for the 1876 period, 5-button sack coats. I've been asked from time to time in a line, as you see them coming around in a drill, instead of 2s in a line or single file, this is 4s at a time. The swallowtail flag that you see them carrying is the flag of the 1876 era. Pleased with us if you were here last year. We will rent ourselves out to any farmer who needs moisture. All you got to do is ask and we'll come and it'll rain.
Right about!
Right about, the 4-column takes and turns right around in the tracks and goes back the other way. They could put together. Then 2 men would get together. They were camp buddies then. And they would put these 2 halves of shelter together, make one tent, and that's what they would sleep in. They were affectionately called dog tents or shelter halves. The dog tents is what the men would call them affectionately, and you'll find them set up down in our camp over west of here. They buttoned up down the top, and there was a triangle, if you were fortunate enough to have the triangle, that you buttoned to close up the back. They can train to make their recognizance, to carry on their campaign, and the wagon train would meet up with them at the end of the day. We have a group broken off right now. You'll see their carbines are drawn. We'll have a mounted skirmish line here. 44 caliber, and that would be what some people call an early model Winchester, but it wouldn't be a Winchester. It would be the gun previous to that, and it slips my mind. 44 caliber Henry. Thank you very much. At a trot, they're going to wheel. And then they put the carbines away. Montana and Minnesota here. Within the whole Western Army of Dakota. Cavalry, artillery, and they are also away from the water and the life. So whatever you're interested in, you want to go just like the Army.
We will be doing the soldier song, or the victory dance song. This is for all the veterans. many veterans in the crowd. This is your song. Let's go, don't be shy.
What you got? Pioneer camcorder. Homemade butter right here. Right here. All myself this morning.
Real cream and real coffee.
Real Pioneer cracker.
Tupperware salt shaker.
Isn't that good? Tupperware and Pioneer days.
Thank you. To tell you about a little money-making project we have. It cost about in the vicinity of $10,000 to put on our contest down at Yankton. And so we worried about it for many years. And we do give away 2 fiddles. And we finance that by selling this popcorn. And we hope that you people will consider taking a bag. Champion coming up to play now. It's Renee Thompson. Her name is Renee Thompson, and she's going to be playing the Thompson Rag, but it's not connected with the same family. It's one that a Canadian fiddler plays, and I know you're going to like this tune, the Thompson Rag. A nice job on that tune and all the rest of them too. Well, here comes her dad.
Don't be angry with me, darling, if I fail to understand all your little whims and wishes all the time. You, with all my heart and soul, pray God to let it last if it's His will.
Come on, Brandon.
It's run.
Come on, Brandon. Yeah. Brandon, come on. We're going. Brandon.
They must have run a little short on people, so they said, well, hey, you know, let's get some more people.
Really.
We the last ones out of North.
Not very long.
No, she's kind of retired.
Just tired.
And we got other people doing that work, and they're doing just as good a job, too. So here she is singing Where the Roses Never Fade.
I am going to a city where the streets of gold are laid, where here they bloom but for a season. Soon their beauty is decayed. I am going to a city where the roses never fade. Would you get her?
Pilot's Waltz. It's Glenn and Bertle and Renee. Pilot's Waltz.
Yeah, to the ball.
Going to the ball.
Well, they told you none of that, but they did. Tell me when you're turning that thing off.
Do what?
I said, tell me when you turn that thing off.
I will you come and meet my Savior. He has done so much for me. Then we'll walk the road together. I'm that golden stair, but best of all, I'll walk with Jesus, and I'll climb that golden stair. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Well, now we're going to call up the other half of the Bailey brothers. It's Roy Bailey.
Oh, he had to get a pair of horses, and so he bought these horses, and he got home, and my golly, he couldn't tell them apart. You know, when you hitch up a team of horses, you got to have them on the right side. You know, you can't be shifting back and forth, and he couldn't tell the difference. He was having an awful time, so he looked underneath them, and looked at their teeth, and looked at their eyes, exactly like perfect. So he went down the road. Sven lived down the road there a ways, and Sven, he said, I bought this here team of horses, he said, and I can't tell them apart. Oh, Sven says, I think we can figure it out if I get over there. So he went over there, and Sven, he came and looked, and he couldn't tell them apart either. He checked them all over, and he looked at their teeth and their eyes and their ears. No, exactly like it. But he got to standing back, and he got to looking, and he says, oh, you come here. He says, now. He says, if you stand right here, he says, and you look right over the top of them horses. He says, that white horse is just a little bit bigger than that black one. She played for the barn dance last night. He might not like that, but she did a good job of leading us. Bertle Mom wasn't there last night, and Ralph wasn't there, and she took over and did a nice job. Well, Glenn Solinger was going to come up.
I'm back in a couple of days, so only came back in a couple of days. Carpenter had it made for him. Carpenter asked him, what are you going to do with a crate that's 2 inches square and 50 foot long? Well, he said my uncle moved away and he forgot his garden hose.
Your uncle moved away and forgot his garden hose. Oh, boy.
Downfall. Something about it coming out of Something about them coming out of the oven warm like that with real butter. Oh.
Real butter and honey?
Heavenly.
Godwin, Daniel Boone, Lewis and Clark, and my favorite person of all time, Theodore Roosevelt, who became a close personal friend of mine. If any of you happen to visit Rochester, Minnesota, you will see a couple of my busts there of the work that were formative in my profession. And finally, my dad bought me an Indian pony, which I enjoyed. This was a period of wonderment and delight.
Okay, you guys got to mark your corners.
Everybody over 12 them. No, over 14. That would be fair.
Dangerous is that thing.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Where's that kiwi, Joey? Where's the kiwi?
Don't let Lyle tie you down.
Don't get me on camera eating.
There we go.
Is that all you got, Pete? That's all we need. Hey, look at that. Hey, your hands. Look at the head. 300 on this one. Good one, go, yeah. Good one.
Like free lunch, isn't it?
Singing around the outskirts, their time will come, right? And if you're there, Johnny on the spot, you got it, mate.
Melanie,
But if they've quit because you haven't got them into that warm environment, somebody else will get them. Because they'll find somebody.
How can you tell the ones that want to be in the warm environment and the ones that don't?
They'll leave.
They'll pursue you. And use that core pretty hard all the time.
Would you say they come to you?
Yeah. Now we've got, it's like now there's a second wave, humongous wave building up in New Zealand right now. And, you know, there's people that are in the business, people that have quit are coming back now and they're just saying, I don't know why we didn't see it. It's because they had to go away and get a whole lot of other stuff organised and put on. If you're fighting and bickering with your wife and stuff, well, how can it possibly work? You know, you've got to get that organised first. That's top priority.
But they don't.
And you know, I was talking to a couple this morning at Fred's. They were silvers, and now they're coming back again. This is 5 years ago. Now they're coming back again, and everything's different now. Their lives are together, and Amway helped them so much before. Now they're ready to go and do it. And we've got heaps of that right now. People that have been in 3 times.
The people that have
Such a
burned
small
to
country.
something or want something better for their kids
And the people
or
that,
whatever,
when they see it,
you can usually teach them how to do that.
you know,
And if you're prepared to go down and
see
help
it in
them
their eyes.
and let them achieve
And it's
their
like
own
you,
steps,
when you're sitting down
like when they go,
doing the plan, they know whether you're serious.
when they
or not.
goal set, if the goal's too big,
But if
when
you're just,
trying to
oh,
bring it
well,
down
this,
to
that, and you're all
something
waffly and, you know, not very
when we told
positive
Tony
and all
Mary
this sort
wanted
of
to go
stuff, well,
diamond,
why do they want to get
someone
involved
told
in
us
something
that,
like
I'll just
that?
go.
But it's something that's got to
too
come
far
from
away
you
from
first. And we did a couple of
Paul and I have always
seminars
been
down
like
in
that. If
the
you're going
South
to do
Island
something, let's do it properly.
on our regional
But
run.
most people, we just set very small
And,
goals for them. You know, look, this is how you go.
I said to all the people there, you know, I said,
1,050
the first thing you got to find out is, are they looking for something? If so, what? Help them through that. And I said, how many of you, there was, I don't know, 400 or 500 people there. I said, how many of you found yourself sitting down, talking about dreams and goals and stuff, and trying to help people establish what they're looking for, and a little thought suddenly goes into your mind, God, I don't even know what I want. And I tell you what, if they were honest, 90% of the people would have put their hand up. I'll guarantee you right now, most of you people sitting right here don't know what makes you do it. You've got to know what makes you go out that door and show that plan at night. Unless you do, you won't do it. You'll take as human beings, we'll take the least line of resistance, which is to sit there and watch the TV.
We just got such a burn, didn't we? When we thought about dying, and it just, our stomachs used to just go like this, and we didn't care what we had to do.
Nothing stops you when you're like that. Nothing at all. You know, you hear it on the tapes, and you sort of think, how can I get people directs in our group say, how do you get the burn? You know?
If you haven't got it yourself, you can't teach someone else.
How do you go about determining that burn?
In a prostate?
That one thing that'll just push you.
Setting little goals, really, in yourself.
How do you determine? No. How do you determine that one thing that'll give you the drive that'll keep you going?
Paul in the dream,
I
really,
don't understand.
To keep Paul going or someone
else? Somebody else.
No, to keep
anyone here.
The dream.
Anyone that does not have that burning drive.
Well,
how do you determine that burning drive?
Well,
figure out how do you get it?
There's several ways, and I learned this off Tony and Meredith. When they were going for Diamond, Tony was down in Christchurch, which is in the South Island, down in the snow country, right? And he was working away down there for a few days, and he rang Mary up, middle of winter, and he said, Mary, got a few days off, jump on a plane, come down and we'll go skiing. Mary said, you know the deal, we don't ski until we're dying. Yeah, they love to ski. And I found that the simple solution to my goal setting was to take something away that I love to do. I took my boat away for 3 years. I packed it up, took it down to my parents' place, put a big cover over it and left it there. For 3 years. Well, nearly 3 years. And that, because I knew that I needed something, and it's like negative goal setting. If you play golf, I don't care what it is, if you go and race a car or play golf or fish, whatever it is, take it away.
Yeah.
But it's got to be something that makes you feel sick that you can't do it.
Okay, now that you've got that burning drive, how many people can you effectively work with? You two, how many people can you effectively work with at one time?
I always say
that are seriously doing the business.
I say to our group, you get the problem and we'll fix it.
Paul and I have never had enough people.
You can never get to that situation.
I think it depends on how much time you're prepared to put in. I mean, we were working the business 7 nights a week. We were doing 2 to 3 meetings a night. When Paul started to plan show, Paul would go and do 2 or 3 in one direction and I'd go and do 2 or 3 in another, so we could have been doing 6 plans a night. It's what you want out of it, and we just wanted it bad.
That's the easiest way, is to take something away, but it's got to be, oh well, you know, we won't go out for dinner anymore. Well, what's that going to do? Nothing, is it? It's got to be...
Get your kids to goal set for you.
What do you do that you love to do?
Little Oris.
What do you do?
What's the one thing I put on the back
Recreation
burner?
or...
I would love to go fishing. I love to go fishing, but I put that on the back burner.
Great.
I have not gone fishing. I have not gone fishing for the last 3 years.
Make you feel sick that you're not fishing?
I want to go fishing.
Is that giving you the drive to go out there and do it every night?
I want to go fishing real bad. I want that freedom.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'm not going to do it until I'm free.
Right, that's it. You got it. You've done it.
See, when we told Tony and Mary what we wanted, they then sat down and got a calendar. And we worked out when we wanted to go diamond, and they started from, there's the 6 legs. And it doesn't matter about the downline directs. That's what you've got to have. This is what you're going to have to do to achieve that. And then they worked it all the way back to, this is how you go 9%. So all I had was a pattern on, if we did this, if Tony and Mary said this is what you do, and we did it and you went to that level, when we went silver producer in that first, 2 weeks, I knew then that we would go diamond because Tony and Mary had said, this is what you do. So I believe that you've got to have faith in somebody, and it's got to be an unquestionable thing. I mean, we never ever questioned what Tony and Mary said. I mean, if they'd said you've got to go and swim underground out here for a couple of days, you'll find somebody. We would have done it. And that might sound silly. A lot of people might say, well, that's like being a clone. But we weren't clones, we just wanted the Amway business. And we knew, through Pete telling us how good Tony and Mary were, that these guys had what we wanted. So I don't know whether or not it was luck or what it was. But
when you sat down to show you an outline to go diamond, how many actually personal names did you have at that particular time? Did you have a bunch, or did you know you had to go out and
we made a list of over 350 names.
At that time when they sat down with you?
But when we went diamond, and this is very, don't go and do that. When we went diamond, we were only 13 wide. When the 6 legs went, we'd only ever sponsored 13 people.
Were they 13 actively building the business?
No, just the people that they sponsored.
They were they were the ones. We were 13 wide when we qualified out. 13. But since then, we would have put another 20 or so on the front line.
It's very, when you get good at building depth, you've got to know how to build depth. And it's like, we do a lot of counselling and stuff, and a couple came up from, in our group, a couple of directs, and there's one, I don't know, about 3 or 4 directs under them now. And they've cottoned on to it. Somebody that you sponsor, most people, like we were talking about before, 70% or 80% of the people that you sponsor won't want to do it now. All you've really got to do is get access to their list. Look at it in a callous way. The person you sponsor is only as good as his list, really. Now that's not a nice thing to say, and it's a callous thing to say, but when it all comes down to it, that's the truth.
Yeah, I know.
Now, if they just get in and it's all get the fuzzies and that's all they want to be around is the fuzzies, well, there was no point in even doing it, really. If they don't want to go and talk to their friends now, you've got to do it on their behalf. And like Noel and Heather are really good at driving the depth. Now that's all we were good at. The people that we sponsored went direct, but it's backed up by directs now, because we went down and drove. You've got to force the depth past the people that you sponsor.
So you took the responsibility of going depth and kept on driving until you backed the leader with the leader.
You have to.
So if that leader's got a headache or the dog's died, the one underneath hasn't got the headache and their dog hasn't died. Yeah. It's how Tony used to say it. Very basic.
And it's like when I sit down with a new couple, I say, look, there's a few things that we're going to talk about in the next few months that you're not going to understand. But we need the relationship that you say, hey, look, I don't understand that, but I'll do it anyway. And it's, like Jeanette said, it's almost like trying to, breed clones or robots or whatever, but it's not. Because, and I say, as you move along and you start to understand the things that we're going to be teaching you and telling you and talking to you about, you'll figure it out. But there will be things that you won't understand. If you want this is what we've got to go and do,
Because most people come into the business with no belief in themselves. I mean, we had no belief in ourselves, but Tony and Mary kept telling us we could do it, and we believed in them until we grew enough in the business to actually start to believe that, hey, maybe we can do this. And they always kept it really basic, didn't they? Whenever we got confused, Tony used to sit us down and just say, look, guys, all you have to do is do 200 PV yourself, because ours is 200, yours is 100. You do 200 PV yourself and sponsor one person. If you can do those 2 things, you'll build a huge Amway business. So when all the confusion started coming in, we used to think, well, we've done that, so all we've got to do is keep doing that and just keep doing it. So we never had over-information, did we?
Keep it really simple. Yeah. It's only when you get too much equipment and too much paperwork and too many things and you know too much, it gets complicated.
Sure it does, yeah.
And, Fred couldn't believe when he first came out how simple it was in New Zealand, because we made sure we kept it simple. Anybody can understand it.
Mary said to us, go direct and clean your mess up afterwards, so that's what we did. And when a business is running, we've got 2 legs that are really running hot home at the moment, and Jenny, one of the ladies, was saying to me, Jeanette, I don't know what to do with all this, and I says, look, once you've hit 21, I'll come down and help you sort it out. As soon as she realised she didn't have to worry about, just go out and show the plan and go with Val and do this and do that. So, but I think it's all on excitement, really. I really do. And the belief people see in your eye. If you believe in what you're doing, that's what sponsors people, not what comes out here.
Yeah.
Sally, what you doing? What are you doing? Go, what a position! Sally's been picking flowers. She don't like that camera. What do you got, Sal?
Flowers. Not much out there, though.
Isn't there?
No. I'm gonna look around the corner.
Some columbine, Sal.
Okay. Oh, those are pretty ones.
Yeah, those are nice.
That's a pretty one.
Yeah, it is. Looks like Shannon brought home a load of gravel. Sure needs spreading, though.
What needs spreading?
What was that smart remark? Behind the tree? The flower stealer. Ammo carrier. Mike here. Oh, this should be it.
Yeah.
conditioning in there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Take them around.
Let the next one go around. We know that guy. We know him. Remember?
Hi there. How are you? Warm enough for you?
Yes. Yeah, he is.
No, I mean, that's what the license plate says.
Oh.
New car, they're gonna do it off and off.
Here comes somebody riding by you. Like in the movie Dick Tracy.
Yeah. That's suicide door, that blue one.
Oh, really? Oh,
That's
yeah.
what you call suicide doors.
Ooh, look at this blue pickup.
Ah, that's a fancy one.
Oh, it's got hands up front. It's just a cleanup crew, Bean.
Well, this is really exciting. Where am I supposed to stand?
Right here. Right here.
What are we doing?
I end up with Mickey. That's it. That's part of the
We're
whole
posing.
experience.
Are you posing?
Yeah.
And the dog's growling.
Did I do it?
Better
I
do
do it
it.
again. Do it again.
Did it
No, I
wind?
thought I just.
Did it wind itself?
Okay. It winds.
All right.
No? All right. Oh, now we're on film too.
The evidence is upon.
Sure.
So blue, my darling, since you passed me by. Why did you leave me all alone? Our arms seem to beat as one, and yet we live those lives. We're living in a world of make-believe. At night, when I go to bed, I dream of dreams gone by. I reach for you and realize that you're gone. Oh, I got this.
That's good. That's good. Let's play
Sounds
that
great.
back. Let's play that back now.
See how it sounds.
Okay.
Gosh, I had to laugh because I did it wrong.
Now let's see what it sounds like here.
The first one, not the second one.
I've done so blue, my darling, since you passed me by.
Sounds great. great.
Did you leave me all alone?
When you sing it, it will be.
Sounds good.
Our hearts seem to beat as one, and yet you live those lives. You're living in a world of make-believe.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
At night, when I go to bed, I dream of days gone by. I wish for you and realize that you're gone.
It's not.
My dreams of happiness are gone, and I fear just being friends would make me fall in love with you again. You left me with a broken heart no one can ever mend. You're living in a world of make-believe.
Sounds good.
At night, when I go to bed, I dream of days gone by. I reach for you and realize that you're gone. My dreams of happiness are gone, and I fear just being friends would make me fall in love with you again. You left me with a broken heart no one can ever mend. You're living in a world of make-believe.
Good.
Yay!
Are you still going with that?
Yeah!
Of course, you get Mildred.
I better get Mildred in there.
Yeah, you better get her.
Hi, Mildred. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one that you
really was.
Oh, the Student Conservation Association, which I found out about through a friend who did it last summer, and it's called the Student Conservation Association because it started off just for college students, but it's expanded now that everything all over.
Okay.
3 of the Pentels here.
3 of the Pentels? Okay.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
Ah.
And Pat.
Okay, gotcha. He couldn't get away, could
I made it here.
He follow ya.
Honey, you better come and have a
Style of Popeyes.
I'll get you a Maury.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Get your wish now.
You did it.
Oh, that's no fair telling. You can't tell you.
Oh no, I just didn't get it now that you're doing all that.
That's very nice. Well, that isn't that sweet, Charlie?
I see Nikki came home. Yeah, she did. She must have heard the excitement. Someone get home. You better, Steve.
Okay,
Someone's open the door for me because this is my mom's.
okay, I'll open the door for you.
There's turkeys out there. Don't know if you can see them. Right in our backyard.
All summer until 2 weeks ago. And so we thought, well, we better come the last night too. Because we were up there 3 or 4 times.
Right in there.
Just,
hi.
Well, hi. Sally, this is our friend. This is Loretta Long. She was there. She lived in Hermosa for years and years. Now they live down in Valley. They lived in Hermosa. Yeah. Well, and they've got a garden. I'm their country gal.
Hi, Jay.
I didn't know you were working. Oh, really?
good looking steaks here.
That's good.
You can watch.
You couldn't tell that if you wanted to. I'm hiding behind you.
Oh, my. Oh. If there's anybody here that hasn't been to the ticket office, be sure you do so now so that you can get the proper ticket so you can get through the line and get fit. I guess there's some...
Do we know which way we go when we go?
We hope that you enjoyed the meal you just had. Did everybody get enough to eat? You know, if you didn't, it was your own fault. I'd like to take the tin cup and the tin plate. You know, those were standard equipment on the old Chuckwagon, along with a Dutch oven to bake biscuits in. The potato, well, the cowboy probably had a few potatoes because
Thank you very much, everyone.
I'm dressing up in style for in a little while. I'm gonna ride into town, and every cowboy path I know will lift his heel and toe when payday rolls around. So I'm feeling fine because there's lots of time until we're all homeward bound. To work and slave with cattle, sweat and swear, and battle until payday rolls around. What does the cowboy do when all of his work is through? Just what I'm gonna do now. With money to spend, I'll mingle off in town to mingle with all my friends I'll allow.
Maybe a blue I gal wait for a cowboy pal right on the hot desert ground.
True heart and golden hair, know that I'll soon be there when payday rolls around. I'm dressing up in style for in a little while. I'm gonna ride. So I'm feeling fine because there's lots of time until we're all homeward bound. To work and slave with cattle, sweat and swear, and battle until payday rolls around.
Thank you very much. We're the Circle B Cowboys, and I guess the only group to ever entertain 4 presidents.
All at one time.
Yep. Right down there at Mount Rushmore one night. Boy, did we get the stony looks, too. Well, we didn't get no standing ovation, but none of them left either. They're still down there, waiting for you folks to come down and talk at them, I guess. And what you're going to hear this evening is Western music, or how the West was sung. Very similar to what the Sons of the Pioneers were doing 50 and even 60 years ago. Real... All day I faced the barren waste without the taste of water. Cool water, water. Old Dan and I with throats burned dry and souls that cried for water, water. Cool water, clean water, water, water. Keep on moving and don't you listen to the man. He's a devil, not a man, and he spreads the burning sand with water, water. Then can you see that big pool of water? Cool water, water. But with the dawn I'll wake and yawn and
to say, tonight we pray for water. Cool water, water. And way up there he'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water. Beneath the stars all alone, it was there I found beside the Alamo. It shed strange as the blue of a bow. A moonlit path that only she would know. Still hears my broken song of love. Moon in all your splendor, know only my heart. Call back my rose, rose of sand and tone. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own broken song. Empty words I know still live in my heart all alone. And that moonlit path by the Alamo, and rose, my rose of San Antonio. Moon in all your splendor, no.
Okay, let's saddle them up.
Saddle up, saddle up, saddle up. Gabriel's trumpet blast the morn. Saddle up, you men, to be leather-born. Your grave will yield their sleep and pray. This is the dawning of the judgment day. Saddle up, saddle up, saddle up. The list is long, you hear the name will call you one by one. And every man is gonna tote a gun. Saddle up, saddle up. He's following those he knows, who down with jealousy's morals past. Saddle up, saddle up. Hear them trumpet, lose your fears. Although you stand for these 80 years, you'll never, never really die. So saddle, 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 saddle up and ride. Folks, here's one we're going to do for the little tots. And we kind of think that you recycled little tots will enjoy it too, because it has to do with all those foolish questions that somebody in the outfit is always asking. Now, without mentioning any names, we've got a guy about 2 doors down from me that's always asking the dumbest questions you ever heard in your life. Now, Buddy down there is our model cowboy. Oh, yeah! You folks know what a model is. It's a small replica of the real thing. Anyway, you know the type of guy I'm talking about. Every outfit's got one, and he just happens to be ours. So we've taken a few of these, put them into the form of a little ditty that we think you'll enjoy. We call it Foolish Questions. Now, you all have heard of foolish questions, and no doubt you've wondered why. The person that always asks them expects a sensible reply. Did you ever take a girl a box of candy, say, right after tea? You notice how she'll grab it, and she'll say, "Is that for me?" How'd you like to take her a box of candy? Foolish questions you answer if you can. Oh, that's for your father, your mother, John Hired Hand. I just wanted you to see it, and now I'm going to take it away. Wasn't that a foolish question? You hear them every day. Now, nearly every morning, there's somebody around the place that'll see you take the shaving brush and lather up your face. And when you give that razor a preliminary wave, that person will always ask you, are you going to shave? I'm not the only one. Foolish questions, your answer is I hope. No, I'm not prepared to shave. I just like the taste of soap. I like to take the shaving brush and paint myself this way. Wasn't that foolish question? You hear them every day. Now you all have seen the man that'll meet you on your way. He'll ask you where you're going, and he'll listen when you say that you're going to the funeral of poor old brother Ned. And just as soon as you told him, he'll say, is old Ned dead? Foolish questions, you might as well reply. No, he just wanted to have his funeral. Later on, he'll die. Can he do that? Old Ned was so original, he just wanted things that way. Wasn't that a foolish question? You hear them every day. Now, I knew that you fine folks was coming out tonight, and I also knew my appearance was something of a fright, so I goes down to a barber shop and the barber just for fun. When I says I want a haircut, he says, which one? And then he cut the wrong one. Feels like he cut them both. Foolish questions, your answer is of course, oh, just make me smell pretty. I don't want you to scare my horse. And the next time I need a haircut, I ain't a-coming around this way. Wasn't that a foolish question? You hear them every day. Now suppose the elevator boy forgets to close the door and you tumble down that shaft some 27 floors. Sure about the shaft. I'll bet that broke his contract.
Now what's your line, Pete? Huh?
He's in good hands. Oh, yeah. Is he a doctor? Isn't he a doctor? Well, when you reach the bottom and you're lying there inert, the first person that comes along will say, are you hurt? Foolish questions, your answer is no. I was just in a hurry and this elevator goes too slow. Bumpy too. I find I save a lot of time coming down this way. Wasn't that a foolish question? You hear them every day. Yeah, he even had trouble finding the right one, didn't he? Yeah, and folks, we did finally put that on the last cassette tape that we made. We called Chuckwagon Favorites. That's back into the country song. Kenny? When I was just a little boy, I learned to call the cows. From Eddie Arnold singing songs about his cattle call. When I hear those pioneers sing, see them tumbling down. Well, I think it's time that we put Western back in the country sound. Every time I hear Rex singing about his Arizona skies, Royandale's happy trail, it always brings a sigh. My throat gets tight and the tears fall. See them tumbling down. Well, I think it's time that we put Western back in the country sound. Can you hear those pioneers singing about cool, clear water?
about time we had Too Tall?
Yes,
do
sir.
a song?
I think it's time we had Too Tall Meredith over there do a song for these folks. Yeah, too tall to see through the keyhole without getting on a chair. You know, I don't know how many of you folks remember Buddy Meredith over there, but when he first come out here to the Circle B, he was too fat. He was just as wide as he is high. And I'll bet you, I'll bet he weighed 333 1/3 pounds.
I'll bet he did too.
I'll bet he did.
But he was looking for a job, and we was needing a baritone singer. So we threw him in a stock tank and scrubbed him down. This is what we got left, right?
Nothing left but the core.
And the vocal cords.
Did you hear what Walt just said?
What did he say?
That you left him in that darn vat too long. He's all wrinkled.
Yeah. Shriveled him right up like an old prune, but he sure can sing. Buddy, why don't you do that, the chime bells for the folks this evening?
All right.
Here's Buddy Meredith.
Out on the mountain, so happy and free, there is a maid and she's waiting for me. Out on the lake, we'll drift with the tide, and hear those chime bells ring. Chime bells ringing, mockingbird singing, dee-lo-lo-lo. Sleep, little lover, upon a summer's eve. Moonbeams were shining as I kissed her there. Night birds were singing perfume through the air. Each little star just twinkled with glee while heaven smiled on me. Chime bells ringing low, mockingbird singing dee-lo-lo-lo. Sleep, my little lover, upon a summer's eve. Nope. You'll never believe that. This guy was tougher than him by far.
Meaner?
Absolutely. This was the roughest, toughest cowboy that ever come out of any place, namely Pecos Bill.
Pecos Bill was quite a cowboy down in Texas.
Yes, he was.
And a western superman, to say the least.
Yep.
He was the roughest, toughest critter, never known to be a quitter, because he never had no fear of man or beast.
Nope.
So yippee-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-o,
For the toughest critter west of the Alamo. Pecos wrote a raging cyclone out of nowhere. Then he straddled it and settled down with ease. As that cyclone bucked and flitted, Pecos rolled a stroke and lit it, and he tamed that ornery wind down to a breeze. So yippee-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-o, you believe that? Oh, the toughest critter west of the Alamo.
Pecos lost his way while traveling on the desert water. It was 90 miles across that burning sand water.
No, Bean did it.
He knew he'd never reach the border. If he didn't get some water. Ribbit, ribbit. So he got a stick and dug the Rio Grande.
So yippee-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-o,
that's the truth.
For the toughest critter west of the Alamo.
Once a band of outlaws stole
along to Bill. Uh-oh. When he caught them ornery villains, he knocked out all their fillings. That's why there's gold in them there hills. So yippee-yi-hey, yippee-yi-oh, for the toughest critter west of the Alamo. It's the truth. While a band of painted Indians did a war dance, Vegas started shooting up their little game. He gave them redskins such a shake-up that they jumped out of their makeup. That's how the painted desert got its name. So yippee-yi-hey, yippee-yi-oh, that's the truth. For the toughest critter west of the Alamo.
While reclining on a cloud high over Texas, with his guns he made the stars evaporate. But when he saw those stars declining, he left one brightly shining as the emblem of the Lone Star Texas State.
You all.
So yippee-yi-hey, yippee-yi-oh,
for the toughest critter west of the Alamo.
so yippee-yi-hey,
yippee-yi-oh, as the emblem of the Lone Star Texas State. Rapid City, dummy. Well, anyway, by now, you know, Kenny here has a mighty fine singing voice. I'm going to tell you something else about Kenny that he wouldn't mention it because he's a little shy, but I will. This feller here used to sing for Elizabeth Taylor's weddings. He said it didn't pay much, but it was steady.
Steady.
Yeah.
Somebody said we got one coming up.
And she's got another one coming up. He's going to be getting a call any day now. That's right. We're going to have him do a song. He's a mighty fine yodeler, too. We're going to have him do a song that's very dear to Eddie Arnold's heart because Eddie sold about 12 million copies of this one. Kenny's again, he sold half that many, about 12, I think. Oh, yeah, I remember. He would have sold 13, but his brother didn't want one. He brought it back. That's right. Here's Kenny Hamm.
His spurs are jingling, the cowboys singing his lonesome cattle call. He brown as the bear from riding the prairie, sings with an old western drawl. Singing his cattle call. For hours he would ride on the range far long, while the night winds blow up the squall. His heart is feathered in all kinds of weather. He sings his cattle call. He rides in the sun till his day's work is done, and he rounds up the cattle each fall. Singing his cattle call. the hands of me. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, I pour throughout the universe display. When through the wood and forest glades I wander and hear the birds sing sweetly in the tree. Then I look down from lofty mountain grandeur and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze. Then sings my soul, my Savior gone to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior gone to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then said, folks, there's 8 of these Chuckwagons in our Chuckwagons of the West Association, all of them in the western United States, and Walt down there is the finest steel guitarist in the entire Chuckwagon Association. Of course, he's the only steel guitarist in the association. You know, he and his wife, Joni, are an absolute love story. There's never been a crossword between them. And I said, Walt, I'll bet there's folks sitting out there tonight that'd like to know how you do that. Now, he says it's easy, but you gotta go dancing 3 times a week. Do you believe that? I don't know. He goes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and she goes on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. You know, my wife and I never got along one single day of our whole marriage. Not one. We fought like cats and dogs. And it wasn't my fault. No, it wasn't. It was her mother's fault. It sure was. She kept saying, Jim only married you because your uncle gave you all that money. And that wasn't true. I really didn't care who gave her all that money. I didn't. We had a knockdown drag out one day. It was a doozy. I didn't see my wife for 2 weeks. Till one day I could see out of this eye just a little bit. But Walt's wife is an angel. Yes?
Boy, is he ever lucky. Mine's still alive.